Bobby Wagner back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you been, Bobby?
I've been good. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. I'd love to just start off right off the bat with telling Seattle fans what to expect. So many guys that you've played with and have been face-front names that represent the type of style that Seattle plays are no longer there, including one who's holding out. What can you tell the 12s about the upcoming season here, Bobby?
I feel like they have a lot to look forward to the upcoming season. I feel like a lot of people are writing this off, but it's not a position that we haven't been in. We've been in this position before. I felt like when I came in 2012, 2013, nobody had us picked to do anything or be good, and we proved them wrong. And it's a similar feel to that. We understand that we lost a lot of people, of familiar faces that they, grown used to. But, it was only a matter of time of, that happening. I think we were fortunate enough to all be together for as long as we were. And, I think it's going to be a great season. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think you'll have Earl Thomas playing behind you, Bobby?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I don't know. I hope he does. But, the way the business is, it's not, you can never really tell. It's just interesting to see the star defensive players out versus the offensive one. So, that's another story for itself.
How so? Let's dig into that there. What do you think defensive players, when they hold out, don't get theirs, but offensive players who do?
I'm not saying that. I definitely say that, this is an offensive league. So it's just interesting to me that you have, great players like Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, yet to get paid, given what they've done in the league. But if they were quarterbacks, I feel like it would have been a little bit different. So it's just interesting to me how that tends to unfold. You have guys that have already got paid and guys that, haven't done as much as they've done in the league. So it's just interesting to me when it comes to that.
Bobby Wagner here on the Rich Eisen Show. Have you spoken to Earl lately?
I have not. I spoke to him at the beginning of, before we started up. Kind of just, reiterated my support to him. I understand the business side of things are hard, but, I haven't really spoke to him. I think my focus has been getting everybody ready to play this season. We got a lot to get done, a lot to accomplish, and, we have to focus on the people that's here in this building right now. And I'm hoping that, at some point he's one of them.
Well, obviously, Michael Bennett, Averill, Richard Sherman, and with Earl holding out, those are just some names. Cam Chancellor as well. How do you feel about your responsibility in picking up the slack or being more vocal than you normally would be, Bobby?
I feel like I'm excited for the challenge, and I think, I see it from a different perspective.
How so?
I feel like personally, the being vocal and all that stuff, that's kind of already been happening. I've already been doing that, but because I'm not really out there as far as media wise, it doesn't seem that way. So it's not, for me, it's not necessarily a big change. We lost a lot of guys that are very vocal in the media. So as far as that might be the biggest change. But as far as in the locker room and on the field, I've always looked at myself as the leader, just because of, how Ken Norton Jr. had, he gave me the rundown about how to play the middle linebacker position. I took that to heart and been trying to grow since I came into the league.
So what did Ken tell you about that you put out there?
That we were the quarterbacks of the defense, that we run the show, and that we're in the middle of everything for a reason. And, our job is to go sideline to sideline, make all the calls, and make an impact every game, and that's what I try to do.
Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks here on the Rich Eisen Show. Bobby, I have a list of NFL quarterbacks here. I'd like to run down them one by one and tell me if they suck or not. Okay, Bobby? Can we do that?
I think somebody already did that.
Really? Oh, because I thought.
GQ, I think.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be nice for GQ to let me get in the. I would love to be in the magazine too. GQ, if y'all hear me.
But the entrance I guess, or the requirement is you may have to tell them everything you think of the NFL quarterback position and whether they suck or not, Bobby. That might be required.
I think it's a little different. I mean, you're a cornerback, so they got to throw against you all the time. So
okay. So running backs?
Maybe I have to talk about the running backs.
Okay. So let's talk about Todd Gurley. Does he suck, Bobby?
No, Todd's good. He just came off the Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Anyway, what did you think of that? Are you guys in your locker room talking about what Jalen Ramsey was saying like that, Bobby?
Honestly, I read it, I seen it, and I kind of just moved on from it. It wasn't really like a big thing because, you kind of, for me, it's like, okay, that's not nothing new. Richard, has been in my locker room, so, y'all seen the type of stuff Richard does. So, with him doing that didn't rub this locker room at all.
No, I know, but I'm just wondering. You did take a look at what he did think about Russell Wilson, though, right, Bobby? You did look for his name at least.
No, I didn't even see. I didn't even see what he said about Russell.
He said he's good.
Did he?
Yeah, he gave.
Okay, good. As long as he gave him a good, so thumbs up.
Yeah,
so
he gave him the. Yeah, he gave him the Jacksonville teal blue check mark. He gave him that. He verified.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was giving too many people props. I think he might have said Tom Brady doesn't suck or something like that.
Yeah, Tom doesn't suck. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, it's definitely entertaining. That was the point of it.
I guess so. Okay.
It did its purpose. It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner, Seattle Seahawks linebacker, and should be in Gentleman's Quarterly right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Who's running the football for you this year, Bobby? Can you give me an idea on that side?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I think definitely Chris Carson has been very, very impressive. Rashad's going to be out with the injury for a while, but Chris Carson has impressed me. Since he's got back from his injury, so that's what I would assume. But it's kind of not. That's not my side of the ball, so I let them handle that.
No, I know. I'm just you don't ever peek over there to see what's going on, to see how things are progressing on that side, line protection wise, certainly for Russell Wilson, et cetera.
Oh no, definitely, because we go and get some,
sure.
Every single day. So you definitely see the improvements in the O line. Like I said, when you see, there's a difference. When Chris Carson runs the ball, he just he stands out to me. Every time you watch film, whether it's him, out of the backfield or running the ball, he stands out to me. So, I felt like we kind of got a glimpse of that last year. Fortunately, he got hurt, so I'm excited to see how that looks. 16 games, but he looks really, really strong, and he looks like he's on a mission.
A few more minutes left here with the man who's made the last four Pro Bowls, entering his seventh season in the NFL, Bobby Wagner. So, Shamarko Thomas is the first player in the National Football League to get ejected under the new helmet rule. He went ahead and he crushed DJ Moore on your team, and that looked like exactly the type of play that the NFL is trying to get out of the game. What is your thought on this new rule, how it's being applied, how it's been explained to you so far, Bobby?
I kind of feel like it's going to be interesting to, I feel like right now it's kind of easy to kind of go along with it because it's preseason and, they're trying to work the kinks out of everything and trying to figure out how they're going to call it. But, I think it's going to be interesting when it gets to real games, especially when it comes to the quarterback or the running back or the ball carrier, period. If you got a guy going for the first down marker and he leads with his head, I'm not sure we have an answer on what a defensive player is supposed to do. Same thing if he's reaching for the goal line. If a guy is, going for the goal line and trying to score a touchdown and it's that split second and all you have is the runner or the quarterback or the receiver, to lead with their head to try to get into the end zone. I'm not sure, what we do. But as far as trying to take the head out of the game, like a hit like that, I can understand. You don't want nobody to lead with their head and hit somebody with the crown of their head on that. I get that, but there's still a lot of hits that we need some clarity to. Of course, they're going to protect the quarterbacks. Of course, they're going to look out for the quarterbacks. That's a given. But, I think every year they try to find a way to make the game harder for defensive players. But, we adapt and we adjust and we figure it out. It's always every offseason, it's always a new defensive rule. It's rarely, offensive rules. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they enforce it during the season. I hope that it's not a bunch of ejections during the year because this is how people provide for their family. I understand the safety of the game and how they're trying to do that. So I'm just intrigued to see, how they enforce the new rule. But we're fine. I don't ever really use my head to tackle, so yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
Because, I guess just to wrap this up, the conversation that I hear, we've had Troy Vincent on, we've had, we've had the head of NFL refs, Al Riveron, on, and I've, talking to folks in the league. What I hear is like, this is preseason. It's preseason for the officials too, but they want to throw more flags now to let everybody know that this is in the rule book. And that that players will adjust. That's what I keep hearing, those words. Players will adjust. Are you sensing that folks in your locker room or your colleagues around the league are adjusting, ready to adjust?
Defensive players will adjust. But yeah, I think they kind of told us that before. They told us they were going to be a little bit more aggressive in the preseason with some of these calls, just to kind of show us an idea of what could potentially be something worth flagging, what can potentially be something worth ejections, and things of that nature. They've definitely done a great job of trying to, communicate, what they're going to do. I just feel like it's a lot different when it comes to regular season and playoff games, and when, these games matter and stuff is on the line, and you got guys selling out to, get a first down or a touchdown or whatever the case may be, and try to figure out what we're going to do, or, what's the judgment. A lot of it is, the defensive players have a chance to think about the hit. It's kind of hard. You're not really in that person's shoes. You don't know what he's thinking in the moment, or, the game happens a lot faster than they think. And so it's just going to be interesting to see how they call it, during the season. But as far as the games that I've watched and the things that I've seen, the stuff that they've called penalties, look pretty legit. And the stuff that, there's been a lot of things that we were concerned that they were going to call that they haven't. So, I don't think it's going to affect the game as much as people think.
Okay. Last one for you. Jimmy Garoppolo. Does he suck, Bobby? Does he suck?
We don't know yet. It's only 5 games. We got to figure this is going to be the test for him the whole season.
Okay. See? All right. You can get in GQ.
When we get like game 14, I'll get back on the phone and I'll answer that question for you.
Fantastic. I look forward to that. Bobby, always love our chats. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Right back at you. Appreciate you, too. Bobby Wagner, at BWags with a Z on Twitter, right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.